Hello everybody, I'm Todd Harris. Welcome to England, a country known for its history, its royalty, as well as its scenic beauty. But for the next 30 minutes, it's all about waves as we bring you the 1992 Hot Tuna Classic from Newquay in southwest England. Surfers from around the world have come to event number 22 of the Association of Surfing Professionals World Qualifying Series to win valuable points toward the 1993 World Championship Tour. And it's right here on ESPN. Hello everybody and welcome to Fistral Beach. I'm Todd Harris and joining me today is former world champion Peter Townend. And Peter, Newquay is the surfing capital of England and home to many hardcore surfers.
Well, you have to be hardcore to surf in England. There's no doubt about that. It's man against the elements. You have a lot of changing conditions here, and it gets very cold in the winter. And of course, you have the tides. They go in and out for such a distance. All
right, we've got great fans here today. The sun is out, but the surfers will be facing some very difficult conditions out in the water.
Well, we have wind-blown peaks today, and that's going to cause some problems for these guys out here, and it's going to be the guys who are masters of the reform. There's lots of different changes to a wave. You take off, it might go left, it might go right, you know, so it's going to be really important to make the connections on these peaks.
All right, we have the usual man-on-man competition, as well as the tag team event, but first, the man-on-man competition, a lot of good competitors there.
Well, yes, of course, the Australians are the big story. Of course, Akalupo from Australia, a former standout champion of the 80s, and he's got a couple of mates here with him too. Shane Powell, a youngster who's really coming on. Graham Wilson, also a veteran of the tour, and Richard Marsh, he's a real strong competitor also. And the other guy here to watch out for is Joey Jenkins from the US tour. He should have a good showing also.
All right, we'll have the tag team event, and that is something that has really caught on with the fans. It's something to watch from beachside.
Without question, this is a really exciting format. Of course, it originated in Australia, and you'd have to give them the advantage, there's no doubt. But what it basically comes down to, you have 4 people on each team, and each member of the team rides 3 waves, and every wave counts.
The competition has progressed to the man-on-man final, but before we show you that, let's bring you up to speed. In quarterfinal number 1, Joey Jenkins, the only American still in the event, would gain a decisive victory over Graham Wilson, ranked 12th on the World Championship Tour and the 4th seed of this event. The final score, Jenkins 30.40, Wilson 20.51. But what is in store for Jenkins?
Oh, I think it only gets tougher, that's for sure. You know, I think good chance Akalupo, Richard Marsh I'll see in the semi, and then on the other half there's Shane Powell and Greg Anderson, so it's going to be tough.
Quarterfinal number 2 was undoubtedly the most exciting heat in the quarterfinals. Mark Akalupo from Australia met fellow countryman and the event's number 1 seed, Richard Marsh. Marsh currently ranked 16th on the World Championship Tour and 17th in the qualifying series, put on a show, scoring a 9.17 wave.
When you consider the 10 as a perfect score, Todd, that's no small feat. Even with the 9+ score, Marsh would not overcome the consistently high-scoring waves of Mark Akalupo. Aki, whose past contest performances are legendary, disappeared from the competitive scene a couple of years ago, only to re-emerge in Australia this year. Aki took the semi-final berth from Marsh by 64 hundredths of a point and seems to be the man to beat in this contest.
In quarterfinal number 3, Shane Powell of Sydney, Australia, ranked 19th in the World Qualifying Series, handily defeated the South African and ASP International Pro-Am champion Justin Strong. The score, 27.87 to 22.73.
In quarterfinal number 4, Greg Anderson from Narrabeen, Australia, ranked 23rd on the World Championship Tour, defeated Justin Cook in grueling conditions.
Well, the conditions are pretty difficult for everyone. It doesn't really suit anyone, you know. It's sort of real lucky dip sort of conditions, real washing machine, and real grueling paddle after every wave you get. It's just such hard work, especially in the tide terms, because they've got 6-metre tides over here. It's like rapids coming at you, you know. So, doesn't really suit anyone in particular, but just, I don't know, you get the odd wave with a good section and you know, when you get them, you got to make the most of them. So.
Greg Anderson making the most of his waves in quarterfinal number 4. When we come back, we'll have the semifinal highlights. In Newquay, England, and before we get to the man-on-man finals, let's have a look back at the semifinal action. Semi number 1 featured Joey Jenkins and Mark Occhilupo. Joey Jenkins from North Hollywood, California, was the last non-Aussie left in the event. Beginning his heat with 2 low scores, Jenkins trailed from the start.
On the other hand, Mark Occhilupo scored consistently in the 7-point range and will move on to meet the winner of Semi 2 in the final. Mark is trying to make it into next year's World Championship Tour. While unsure of whether or not he had advanced, Mark was happy with the valuable qualifying points he had gained just by making it into the semis.
Well, all right, already a semi-final result, a third will count for me, so it's well worth me coming here, and I'm going to compete in the rest of the double A's and the whatever's higher than that in the end of the year, so I'm going to give it a shot.
So it's Mark Occhilupo knocking out the lone American Joey Jenkins. As he moves on to the final, will he'll face Greg Anderson or Shane Powell. Semi number 2 was a classic Aussie battle. Greg and Shane decimated the lip with their backside attacks, but in this close wave-for-wave heat, things remained even.
The entire heat was neck and neck, and one big score could have tipped the balance. But with both competitors pulling 8s, it would come down to averages. Anderson, with a wave average of 7.3, would give the narrow win to Powell and a wave average of 7.7.
So Shane Powell will go on to meet Mark Occhilupo in the final. Apart from the man-on-man surfing was the tag team competition, a club-created event designed to involve as many surfers as possible. The relay-like competition is fast, and the objective is simple. Each team member must race from the team area to the water and catch 3 waves as quickly as possible. Having done this, the surfer returns to the team area to tag the next awaiting teammate. All 4 surfers from each team must complete their 3 waves and be back inside the team area within a 1-hour time period. If the final man does not catch his waves and return to the team area within the allotted time, his waves will not count. It's very important to note that every wave counts, good or bad, and if a surfer uses too much time in catching his 3 waves, his teammates may end up paying for it.
As an added factor, each team captain was designated as a double whammy surfer. This surfer, at the end of any one of his 3 waves, can raise both hands over his head, indicating to the judges that the wave just ridden is the double whammy wave. It will be counted for twice its actual score. The strategy is deciding which wave to double whammy.
The Boardwalk Tag Team Challenge began with 4 teams, Great Britain, Newquay, Australia, and a multinational squad dubbed as the Rest of the World, and consisting of 2 Aussies, a South African, and a Yank. Of the 4 teams, the Australian team and the Rest of the World team advanced to the finals. Leading off for the Rest of the World was Justin Strong of South Africa, while Shane Powell was first for the Australians. Justin Strong would draw first blood with a less than perfect score of 4.83.
And looking at that wave, you can see he really never got a really clean open face. He was hopping and bouncing, trying to connect the inside. Really didn't give him a lot of opportunity under which to do the strong maneuvers, and he really didn't put on a good start there.
Meanwhile, Shane Powell's first wave was a strong 7.67.
Well, this was a much better wave because he got some open face to do the snaps on the open face, and that's what the judges want to see. And you see he got that good rip on the inside and picked up a pretty decent first ride.
Both Shane and Justin scored in the 6-point range on their second waves, and both finished poorly. Strong with a 3.83 and Powell with only a 2-pointer. Even though Powell finished poorly, his first wave scored high enough to give the Australian team a 1.61 lead. Coming in 3 minutes ahead of Strong, Powell gave double whammy teammate Richard Marsh some valuable extra time, while leaving Mark Occhilupo, the Rest of the World's double whammy surfer, waiting for the exchange. Richard Marsh double whammied his second wave for 15.3 points, moving the Aussies ahead by 15.84 points.
Well, this wave started out okay, but it didn't line up as good as maybe Richard wanted it to. He pulled off a couple of nice roundhouse wraparounds into the whitewater, but the inside really didn't cooperate for him.
Occhi also double whammied on his second wave, and 8.5 double became a big 17 points.
And he did an incredible outside vertical move. As we see it there, he just exploded through the top, made the inside connection, and definitely got the better of the exchange. As you see, he put those hands in the air and scored the big double whammy.
Mark's double whammy was enough to put the rest of the world team ahead by 1.16 points. Can they maintain the lead, or will the Aussies overtake them? You'll find out when we return. After Marsh's last wave, the Australian team had regained the lead, and Marsh no doubt picked up time and style points by undoing his leash mid-ride, while Mark Occhilupo may have lost some for not removing his.
Occhi made the exchange, and Damien Waugh raced out to meet Greg Anderson. Anderson surfed a great heat, racking up 20.66 points, while Waugh turned in a 19-point performance in less time, giving Jenkins a shot at winning and leaving the Australians to wait for the tag.
Needing to overcome a 3.7 deficit, Jenkins floundered on his first wave, scoring a 3.67, but he recouped some dignity with the second highest score of the competition, an 8.17 on his second wave.
Todd, the thing about this wave was it had some good shape, and it enabled Jenkins to do some solid maneuvers like that snap outside and get an inside connection. Of course, he picked up that good score. Meanwhile, Graham Wilson, after his first two waves, led by only 2 points. The final wave would decide the winner.
Graham scored a 7.9 on his final wave. An excited Australian team looked on as Jenkins made the drop into the last ride of the tag team final. He scored a 7.57 and returned to the team area in time, but it wasn't enough as the Australians finished 1.34 points ahead. The final score, Team Australia 83.50, the rest of the world 81.14. Okay, Peter, the preliminary action was great, but now we're down to the man-on-man finals here at Fistral Beach, and it could prove to be very interesting with the star of the 80s versus the star of the 90s.
A classic confrontation. One of the heroes of the 80s, Occhi, two-time winner of the OP Pro, one of the great competitors who went against Curran during that period. He's really going to be looking to win out here because he hasn't won in a long time, so he's hungry. But he's got a very strong young competitor in Shane Powell looking for his first big tour win, and this kid is very exciting, and he's probably a star of the 90s, as you said.
All right, we're all set, so let's go to the water.
Well, conditions have deteriorated slightly, but we have a veteran against the youngster out here at Fistral Beach today in Newquay, and the judging panel looking on. And I'd say this will be a testing final here for Mark Occhilupo, but drawing first blood, Shane Powell on his backhand explodes it vertically on this little wave looking for the reform. Gets that bounce to the inside. Can he get anything going here on the inside? Bouncing along, trying to build up the speed. Can he make the connection? Yes, he gets a little connection, a little floater on his backhand, a little snap on the open face, and makes the most of that inside reform.
All right, and another big factor in this is going to be fatigue, because both of these surfers rode in the tag team final, which preceded this, and it is not easy, PT, paddling back out in that lineup the way the conditions are.
Without question, that's the case out here. Here's a look at Shane Powell's wave again. He gets that good outside vertical move there. And a really nice solid move. He picks up a 6.93, and that's a pretty good opening score.
So for the folks in England seeing some of their first surfing, this isn't bad. Mark Occhilupo up and riding.
Well, he gets a bigger outside wave with a big vertical move outside, a roundhouse wraparound into the whitewater, and this is a pretty good opening wave here for Occhi. Can he get some inside action? That would maximize this score. He's bouncing, trying to get it to connect. As I said, those connections are all important today, but he did get that good move outside.
All right, as the crowd makes their way back down, let's have a look at that wave.
See, he gets it up there. He gets a little loose for the moment. And, of course, picking up a good score there, a 7.0. The judges like that outside move.
Okay, and the conditions, once again, these currents are going in and out, so it's really hard. Up and riding, it looks like Shane Powell is going to take this one.
Well, Shane Powell going on his forehand this time. He looks like he's got a pretty decent wave. A quick snap. He nearly lost it there as he went back into the whitewater. Rips it off the top there. Accelerates down that section. Little tail sliding snap there on the inside. Kid gets incredible acceleration off the sections.
Right on his heels, Mark Occhilupo, and he is getting quite a bit of speed. Tries for the cutback. It doesn't, well, maybe he did get that one.
Occhi with all the speed there going for the cutback snap. Can't quite stay with it.
So while there's a break in the action, let's head east to the nation's capital. The City of London has to be one of the most preferred tourism destinations in the world. From the River Thames to Big Ben to Buckingham Palace. The city is full of landmark sites, classic architecture, and that unique English flavor. Whether you're a history buff or not, London is something to see.
Don't go away, mate. The surf's wicked.
This.
Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the 1992 Hot Tuna Classic at Fistral Beach in Newquay, England. And PT, we have quite a duel in the finals.
The youngster against the oldster, as we might call him. And right now, the youngster has the edge just by a couple of points. Shane Powell looking good in the early going.
All right, the conditions continue to deteriorate as the currents go out, but the riders still are making the best of it. It looks like Mark Occhilupo up and riding.
Nice little floater on his backhand here, trying to make something of it. This one's going to be a difficult one to connect. Can he stay with it? That's the big thing out here today. But outside, Shane Powell gets the big snap under the lip outside. This is a much better wave. Comes round that section, rebounds off the whitewater. Another little rebound off the whitewater. He stays with it. Onto the whitewater one more time and just ripping that whitewater apart, but he got that great move outside.
Having a look at both of those waves, it looks like Shane Powell, PT, got the better of the two.
And will extend his lead, I'm sure, after that exchange, Todd. And right now he's out in front. Here's a look at that maneuver again. He snaps it under the lip there, gets hung up there for a second, then drops back into the wave, picks up a 6.77, now 26.50 total for Shane Powell.
All right, still not out of the reach of Mark Occhilupo, though. The man is a veteran, and he really knows how to surf, and here he is up and riding.
Well, he gets a better-looking wave this time, takes the drop on his backhand to the inside, cuts back into the whitewater, looking for that inside section. Little floater over the whitewater. He doesn't seem to be really connecting right with his maneuvers here, though. Here he gets a good one on the inside, but those outside maneuvers, they could have been stronger.
Mark has been surfing quite a bit in Australia as of late, but it's good to see him back in the finals of a competition once again. And this whole event really was a last-minute appearance for him.
Well, funny enough, this was a real last-minute decision for him. He was in Perth, up the north coast in Western Australia, and he got a last-minute telephone call from Graham Cassidy saying that he was a seed for this event if he could make it. So he rushed off on the plane and got here at 10:30 in the morning, 3 hours before his first heat. So he was kind of jet lagged for the first heat, but he managed to get through that, and he's just been steamrolling since then.
Well, despite what I thought about those outside moves, Occhi gets a great score. Well, we've got a lull in the action here. Let's look at Newquay.
Newquay is located on the southwest corner of England, and while the surfers come to this town for the waves, tourists from all over the world come to the Cornish Riviera for its scenic beauty. Newquay is also a favorite destination for Britons on holiday, with its many shops, hotels, and pubs.
Judges really liked it, giving him an 8.33, and as you said, really closed the gap. So right now he has a shot at taking this title. Here's Shane Powell trying to answer back. Little rebound into the whitewater there, trying to get the inside connection. Upside down snap there, but not much more open face on this one.
All right, the whitewater catches up to him, and he's not going to be able to really pile up too many more points. A few last-minute cutbacks, but really that wave is really closed out as the next set rolls in. Looks like Shane Powell's running out of time and running out of steam on this particular wave.
Well, he has a slight edge at this point, and he'll make his way back out, but now it's all up to Mark Occhilupo outside, paddling into a decent-looking outside wave. He takes the drop to the bottom, drives down on the open face, rips it off the top in the tail slide there. Can he get back into it? He does. A great move there on the inside. Roundhouse wraparound off the whitewater. And Occhi pouring it on here, and maybe he can take the lead with this wave.
And that is the second time Mark Occhilupo has been able to salvage a maneuver out of the jaws of death. Again, with that tail slide again. I thought he was down. He pulls it back out. The judges have got to like that.
And here's a look at it again. What an aggressive move off the lip. He somehow gets it back over the whitewater, back onto the green face, and picks up another great score, an 8.07, and a really solid score. And he is driving here towards a win.
All right, Mark Occhilupo with an even 30 points, and he's putting the pressure on young Shane Powell, who's up and riding on the outside.
Powell outside with a wedgy little peak, gets a couple of good moves outside, drives to the inside, a good snap on the open face, and time is running out on us here as Powell's trying to make the most of this, trying to answer back that last great wave of Occhi. A very close final here, and you can see Powell takes a look at his watch, and this one's all but over.
Mark Occhilupo still out in the lineup, and there you go. There's the end of the heat. It looks like this is going to be very close. The judges are going to have to decide it.
And here's a look at Powell's last wave again. He gets that good snap on that inside section. Will it be enough? He was out in front for most of this final, Todd.
All right, both competitors make their way in. We'll find out who wins after this. Back to ESPN's coverage of the 1992 Hot Tuna Classic from Fistral Beach in Newquay, England, and PT. We just saw a great final.
Very close final here between Occhilupo and Powell, and now it comes down to the final result.
So let's go to the winner's podium and find out who takes home the check.
Oh, a big win for Mark Occhilupo here today in England. A return to the winner's circle after a long absence. So Occhilupo over the youngster Shane Powell here today in England. And big points for Occhilupo on the all-important World Qualifying Series, trying to get back into the World Championship Tour. And the tour as it stands right now, American Shane Beshan out in front. But all-important points for Occhilupo. He moves into 28. The top 28 go to the World Championship Tour. Tides with our winner.
All right, I'm with the winner, Mark Occhilupo, who won the finals of the 1992 Hot Tuna. And Mark, were you surprised with the victory?
Well, yeah, I was a little bit surprised because the waves were long and he was connecting a bit longer waves than I was, and maybe I had spectacular, more solid manoeuvres, but sometimes you never know which way they're going to judge. In a final, sometimes they judge different. And I was a bit surprised, but I'm really happy though.
Now, you say you were out for a little while. Does it feel good to be back in competition?
Yeah, well, it really does. You know, first I started off just doing free surfing. I didn't compete straight away when I got back into my surfing, but slowly got back into contests, and it feels really good just to, you know, get through a semi, let alone make it to a final.
Okay, you know, you say you dedicated the show, this next competition to your dad.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to do that, but it's been really hard competing through the trials just to get to the main event, and so I'm really pleased to do it. It's really special to me, and I'm really pleased I've done it.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
That'll do it for the 1992 Hot Tuna. For my colleague Peter Tuna, and I'm Todd Harris, saying so long from Newquay, UK. Hotel accommodations provided by Berners Park Plaza, London. Transportation furnished by British Airways.